Suppose that you are interested in studying how people respond to life-threatening situations. So you create a virtual simulation of a plane crash. You take 10 participants and record their behaviors, pulse, and adrenaline levels as they go through the virtual simulation. You find that heart rate and adrenaline increase during the simulation. You also notice that during the final moments of the plane crash simulation, a majority of the participants were able to accurately follow the safety instructions that were given in the beginning of the flight. You want to know if your study is valid, which means the study measures what it is supposed to measure. One way for us to examine the study's validity is to look at ecological validity, which is the extent to which the conclusions of your research study can be generalized to the settings and situations in which the phenomenon that you are studying would naturally occur. If your research study has high ecological validity, then you can generalize the findings of your research study to real-life settings. If your study has high ecological validity, you would expect that people who are in actual plane crashes would experience increased heart rate and adrenaline. You would also expect them to be able to follow all of the safety instructions. Let's say that you researched people who have been in plane crashes and survived, and found out that they did experience increased heart rate and adrenaline. However, the increase during the real-life situation was much higher than during the virtual simulation. In addition, you also found that none of the survivors were able to recall or follow the safety instructions during the actual plane crash. In this example, your study has low ecological validity. This means that you cannot generalize your findings to real-life plane crash situations. Generally speaking, when you conduct research in settings that are realistic, meaning they're done in a natural environment, your study has high ecological validity. When you conduct research in artificial settings that lack realism and have very little in common with real-life settings, such as a virtual simulation of a life or death experience, you will likely have low ecological validity. There is almost always a trade-off between ecological validity and experimental control. The more we try to control a study or experiment, the less ecological validity that we have. This is because when we control an experiment, we are changing the conditions under which the experiment occurs. These changes are different from what we would find in a natural setting.